Hey guys, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the lab for the cardiovascular system, and today we'll cover the blood and the heart. So I will go over my lab and mastery, particularly the practice anatomy lab PAL. So I'm going to open my lab and mastery. Then I will go over study area, launch the study area, go to practice anatomy lab PAL, then practice anatomy lab PAL. I will go over a histology of the cardiovascular system first, and then I will talk about the heart. So you guys can also go over these slides and practice and then work on the homeworks. And these labs I will post as a study guide too. Okay. So cardiovascular system is the blood vessel, blood, heart, and the lymphatic system. And today I will talk about the blood and heart. So here is blood smear. And as we have gone over the composition of blood, you know, blood has the liquid portion we call plasma, and the cellular component formed elements, they are the blood cells. So blood has plasma. You can see all the clear area is full of plasma, and these all are the cells. The most numerous cells are red blood cells, which carry oxygen, and then you see other cells are white blood cells. So here is lymphocyte, which nucleus is full. There is multi-lobe nuclei, eosinophil. Then there is another multi-lobe nuclei. They are neutrophil, basophils, and monocytes. The red blood cells, which is the most numerous cells, carry oxygen, and white blood cells are the part of immune system which fight infection. In a slightly highly magnified, so you can see again red blood cells. Each red blood cells have central palar area because they have biconcavity. And then eosinophil, you see eosinophil has the dumbbell-shaped nuclei here. And these eosinophils increase in allergic reactions. Here is another neutrophils. You see multi-lobe. You can see 3 lobes of nuclei here, neutrophils. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 lobed. So sometimes, and the smallest cell, you can see they are the platelets. So neutrophils have several morphology. That's why we call them sometimes polymorphs. Polymorph, P-O-L-Y-M-O-R-P-H. Again, the red blood cell, platelets, and the monocytes. Monocytes are the large white blood cell, and their nucleus are like horseshoe shape or kidney shape. Okay, they are the major macrophage of our blood. Again, monocyte, neutrophil, red blood cells, platelets, the same cells. You need to identify these cells for the exam purpose. It is lymphocyte. You can see the lymphocyte cell is pretty much, whole cell is packed with dark nucleus. So their nuclei are the largest. Then platelets again. This is another neutrophil and basophils. You see, basophils are increased in allergic reaction as well in parasitic infection. And they are basophil, eosinophil, and neutrophil. They have, you can see the granules in their cytoplasm. That's why we call them granulocytes too. Now, these blood are found in the artery, vein. That's why, let's see the structure of artery and vein. So this is transverse section of an artery and vein. You can see here in this diagram. Arteries are open because arteries wall are thick and they have a lot of collagen fibers, and they are connected to your left side of the heart, which pumps with high force, and that's why they are always open. They have pressure. Whereas veins have no pressure. That's why when you cut, veins are collapsed and they have less collagen fibers and other stuff. And each artery and veins are also supplied by some nerves. So you can see the nerve section. Okay. Whether it is artery or vein, they have 3 layers of structure. So we call them tunics of the blood vessels. The outermost layer is called tunica externa of the artery, and they are made up of connective tissue. The middle layer is tunica media, which is made up of smooth muscle. That's why this is the layer which is controlled by autonomic nervous system. That's why your artery can increase or decrease in size based on when your heart contracts or relaxes. Tunica intima is the simple squamous epithelium. They are made up of epithelial tissue. Same structure in the veins, except the arterial connective tissue has a lot of elastic fibers. Veins have less thickness of the tunica media. You can see the same tunica intima, tunica externa, and tunica media. Large elastic arteries, which has a lot of elastic fibers. So you can see in the tunica externa, they have, this is the tunica media, and there is tunica externa, tunica intima. And you can see in tunica media, there is a smooth muscle as well as a lot of elastic fibers in the outside. And that's why it can expand every time your heart contracts. And then tunica intima. Again, the tunica media, tunica externa, and tunica intima. This is the smaller arteries, cross section. You can see the amount of elastic fiber is getting less and smooth muscles are still there. Arterioles. Arterioles are the smaller arteries, and you can see their walls are getting smaller and smaller. This is the capillary, which is the smallest blood vessels. And that's why they can rupture easily. That's why they are supported by connective tissue, particularly the adipose tissue. And you see the capillary are made up of very single layer of cells, and they are, even capillary is packed with red blood cell and white blood cell. You can see red blood cell are running inside the capillary. This is again large vein, the tunica externa, tunica intima, and tunica media. This is veins. So artery pumps blood all over the body. And that's why there is force pushing the blood from the heart into the artery and then to the tissue. So there is no chance that blood can come back. But in veins, let's say when the vein from your leg is draining blood in your heart, they are against the gravity and there is no pressure. There is no pumping system. So blood can easily go down in the veins and increase the size of the vein. That's why vein contains the valve, and you can see the venous valve. So when blood, let's see, from your leg comes in your thigh, these valves stop going, blood from going down. This is the simple squamous epithelium, venule, and longitudinal section in the small veins, you see. So there is like one cell thick, and then blood, and these are the tissue. That's why these small venules can easily exchange gases and nutrients. The cardiac muscle tissue. In the cardiovascular system, we need to know the cardiac muscle, and we have done that before. Cardiac muscle cells are branched and interconnected to each other. They are striated, and they are found only in the heart. So these are the cardiac muscle cells. Let's go in magnify, and you can see. So here, this is the cardiac muscle cell, and you can see these cells are branched, and each cells are connected to each other. If you see, these muscle cells are connected to another muscle cells, and one cell is attached to another cell through the gap junction. You see, these are the intercalated disc, which connects one cardiac muscle cells to another cardiac muscle cells through the gap junction. And that's why the action potential in one cell can easily transmit to another cells, propagate to another cells, which is called syncytium in the heart. Here you go. This is even highly magnified, and you can see intercalated disc. This cell and this cell is connected here, another here, and you can see the striations, and then you can see the nucleus of the cells. Cardiac muscle cells are sometimes multinucleated, sometimes uninucleated. Here you go, striations, intercalated disc, and the cardiac muscle cells. Okay, so now let's go to the heart. So I'm going to go anatomical model and the cardiovascular system. In cardiovascular system, I will talk about the heart. Okay. So heart, this is the anatomical position of heart. This is the anterior view. Heart has 4 chambers. The upper chamber is called atrium. So right, and there is a flap, that's what we call the right auricle, left auricle, left atrium, right atrium. So flap of the atrium is called auricle. So you see, right atrium, right auricle, right atrium, sorry, right atrium, right auricle, left atrium, left auricle. And then lower chamber is called ventricle. So you have left ventricle and left right ventricle. So here, right ventricle, left ventricle. And then there is a lot of artery and veins which supply your heart. So like anterior interventricular sulcus, where this artery lies, and there is a vein. Okay. The great vessels, which is connecting to the heart, let's talk about them. So here is superior vena cava, and you cannot see there will be inferior vena cava, which drains blood into your right atrium. Then this is aorta, the great artery arising from your left ventricle, and then it divides. In the right side, you see there is only one branch, and this branch is called brachiocephalic trunk. And this trunk then divides and forms the right subclavian artery, which goes to your upper limb, and right common carotid artery, which goes to your head. But in the left side, there is no brachiocephalic